Verse 4, they were begging us earnestly for the favor of taking part in the relief of the saints. And you may see in that word favor, you may see a little number next to it. Mine has a number 2. And if you look down at the bottom where the numbers are, it will tell you that that word favor is also the word translated grace. They were begging us to participate in the grace. And so for Paul, and he's trying to show these Christians, as you think about the offering time at church, or when you think about money or the opportunity to give, think about it in terms of it being a grace, participating in the grace of God. Think about your giving as grace giving. Because when you begin to see your giving through the lens of grace, everything begins to change. Look at what he says in verse 4. They gave up their means, begging us earnestly for the favor of taking part in the relief of the saints. Verse 5, and this not as we expected, but they gave themselves first to the Lord and then by the will of God to us. In other words, it wasn't guilt trip. I didn't strong arm them. What they did is they gave themselves to the Lord. Not as if they became Christians. They were already Christians, but maybe you've had this experience in your life. How many of you have been kind of drifting from the Lord, or maybe a little spiritually dry, and you attended a worship service, or maybe you were just sitting and watching television or something, and the Lord just showed up. He revealed himself to you. He demonstrated his grace in power, and you were just overwhelmed with the love of God. How many of you have ever had an experience like that? And you thought to yourself, I'm not where I should be. I'm not where I'm not where I ought to be. My life isn't being motivated by the love of God or the grace of God. And you kind of recommitted yourself, or you resurrendered yourself to the purposes of God and the will of God. How many of you have ever done something like that in your life? Maybe you didn't walk an aisle, you didn't make a big decision, but that idea is what's behind these Macedonians giving themselves first to the Lord. The grace giving, if it's going to be anything, it has to come from a place of what the old folks used to call consecration, of being one with the Lord, uniting yourself to the person of your heavenly Father, saying, I'm going to write my blank check out. It's all on the table. Whatever you say, I'm going to do. And from that place of consecration, then they gave according to the will of God. They didn't know what they were going to give or how they should give until they consecrated themselves to the Lord. But from that place of consecration, they, according to the will of God, gave.